Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. I hope all of you are truly doing incredible today, receiving all the joy and love that life has to offer. And it's a joy and love that comes from and radiates from within. And when we speak of just radiation, this is something that, it emits from outside of you. And as we allow that to be received in our experience from within, it will start to flow outside of us in all of our experiences. And it's up to us to remember that and realize that and know that there is a possibility for us to feel something that's much more incredible than what we felt before. Feel more a part of ourselves, feel more in tune with ourselves, feel more at home in ourselves than we have ever before. And so many things that keep us from realizing that and recognizing that are the beliefs that we hold about ourselves and the world around us. And that's what I want to speak about today, is this idea of beliefs. And I've spoken about beliefs many times, and I love to bring up these topics again because they help us to think about them again. They help us to think about them in a different way, in a different mindset. Each moment in life, we're stepping forward and moving to a new understanding about ourselves and everything that we experience in this life. And with that new understanding, we can reapproach these things that we've thought about before with a new light. Maybe the words will reach us in a different way. Maybe new conceptions will come to us that give us a clearer understanding. And with this idea of beliefs, beliefs are just thoughts that we continue to think. And I've mentioned that before, and others have said it, and this is something that is very true. What are the thoughts that we continue to think that are shaping our beliefs? So many of those thoughts are very limiting. So many of those thoughts put us down. Many of those thoughts look at the world and see destruction and chaos and pain and suffering, and believe that that is all that there is. As we shape our idea of what we want to see this world as being, what we want to see our experience as being, we have to look at these beliefs and realize that they are the culprit of everything that we see manifested in front of us. So as we do this work to live the most abundant life that we can, live the most fulfilling and true life that we can, create that space of oneness with ourselves. As we start to do that, as we start to do this work to value ourselves and love ourselves for everything that we are, we have to tackle many of these beliefs that are keeping us from that recognition. And it's easy for us to recognize the beliefs that we hold if we're giving them discerning attention. And I say discerning attention rather than just attention because we give attention to our negative experiences all the time, but we don't do anything to necessarily change them in any way. We don't do anything to necessarily shift them or transmute them into the place that we want them to be. And it's not about changing the world around us. It's about changing our beliefs about the world around us and the world within us. So as we look at our dreams and aspirations and things that we just desire to have in this experience, what are your beliefs around it? Do you believe that you have to work hard in a place that you don't want to be in order to receive your abundance? Do you believe that you have to do things to deserve love? Do you believe that the world is chaotic and that's just the way it is? Do you believe that it's a dog-eat-dog world and everyone is for themselves? Are these beliefs that you hold? And if they are beliefs that you hold, ask yourself, are these beliefs that feel good for me? Are these beliefs that I feel resonate with me from a deeper place? The world may try to incite certain beliefs within us, but the beliefs latch on to us as we begin to think about them more, as we begin to focus our attention on them more and give them validation. Yes, there's pain and suffering in the world, but that's just the way it is. It's always been that way. That is a belief that we're holding, and does it feel good to believe that the world will always have pain and suffering? There are many that speak of this idea of heaven on earth, but what does heaven on earth look like? Does it involve that pain and suffering as well? There are beliefs that we hold that are keeping us from recognizing the potential of what is really right here, right in front of us always. I've mentioned this analogy before, but we have technology right now. So many microchips and silicone things that are helping us to really transform the way that humanity is moving. Yet all these elements, all these materials have been here since the beginning of time, since the beginning of Earth's creation. They've always been here. But it's not until people looked at them and said, there is something here. There's something I can put together. It wasn't until the belief was created that we can create such technologies that it started exploding in the way that it is. It starts with our belief. If we believe that there can be peace on earth, then that is how it starts. If we believe that we deserve abundance and joy and love, if we truly believe that, then that's where it starts. That's how we start to incorporate that in our lives. There are so many beliefs that we hold of pain and limitation and lack and separation that are keeping us from that oneness and wholeness and love and abundance that we seek to have. Those feelings of joy and peace that we know resonate with us so much. We have to change our beliefs in regard to that. I've spoken to many people that feel as though that joy is something that can be experienced moment to moment, but there has to be also pain and suffering. And as I've spoken about in the episode of truth are relative. So whatever truth we decide to hold on to, that will be the truth that is. And the pain and suffering experiences that we have in this life, they do teach us very much about what we're meant to understand, lessons that we're meant to learn. But more importantly, that these things don't feel good, that these negative experiences don't feel good. And if we have an experience of what doesn't feel good, then we know what the opposite of that is. It's up to us to focus our attention on what that is, the things that we truly desire, and cast away the things that do not serve us. Cast away those things that keep us feeling less than. I may have mentioned this metaphor before, but imagine that you are in an orchestra and maybe you're very new and you're playing the flute and you realize that there are all these other people around you playing the drum and the cymbal and, all these different sounds radiating around you, and you are trying to play your own tune. And as we kind of try to play our own tune, we realize that there are all these other sounds and all these other things that are distracting us from hearing the sound that we want to hear. But as we practice more of tuning ourselves in to the sound that we are creating, the sound that we wish to create, we can drown out the sound of the drums and the sound of the saxophone and the sound of all these other things around us that we're blaming for keeping us distracted. This is the same thing that's happening in our lives as we try to focus on the tune that we are creating for how we want to live our experience, the things that we want to receive in our lives. That is your tune, that is your note. And as you focus your attention on that, rather than the things that the world will tell you to focus on, then we can find ourselves more and more drowning out the sound of the world and focusing on only what we wish to experience. And there are many people that will say, well, I would love to do that, but this circumstance, but that circumstance, but I have to focus on this. These are all beliefs that we hold. What if you were to entertain the idea that, what would it be like for me to live my best life by pursuing the thing that I enjoy the most? What would it be like for me to live all the abundance that I know that I deserve to receive by doing what I love? As we start to think different thoughts that are more alignment, that feel more good for us, we can realize that we can tune more and more to that, and it will shift our beliefs. And as our beliefs change, the world around us will shift. And it may not be a shift that anyone else notices except for you. But as your beliefs change, your perspective will change. And it does actually change the world around us. Because as you radiate that truth of moving with your passion and changing your beliefs to be more in line with what feels good for you, others will want to be a part of that, because everyone wants to live the life of their dream. Everyone wants to live a life of peace and joy and love. No one should have to work for it. No one needs to work for it. It is abundant for us right here, right now. But it's not until we shift our thoughts to change our beliefs to start to see that. It is a process, but we have to look at the beliefs that we hold and ask ourselves, is this a belief that I wish to continue to hold? Because you can look at any belief that you have and think about all the strings of thoughts that are associated with it. Maybe you want abundance in your life, financial abundance in your life, and you look around and you say, well, I have to work really hard for that. I have to do this thing. I have to sit in this job and save up, and then maybe I can follow my dreams after that. There are so many things that are just within that idea that keep us from enjoying the life that we want to experience right now in this moment. And as we do this work to shift our beliefs, we don't have to radically change the circumstances in our lives, but start changing the thoughts that you're having around these circumstances. There are people that have had millions and millions of dollars, lost all of it, but held the belief that they were abundant and that money was part of their experience. And they regained that wealth much faster than anyone who has worked all their life trying to gain that same wealth. It starts with the belief. When we hold the belief so certain within ourselves, the world has to respond in an according way. Things will happen that will come into your experience that are in accordance with that belief that you hold. Do you believe that the world is chaos and destruction and war-stricken and poverty-stricken and famine? Do you believe these things? Well, I'm sure if you do believe these things and you look at the news, you see different articles show up in your social media feeds, and all these things are validating that belief. Now, it's not to say that those things aren't present, but are they the majority of what is? Peace and love and joy is abundant on this planet. I mean, it just is. There's so many landscapes and things that are just naturally here that bring people to tears because of the beauty and peace that it emits. The love that they feel from just viewing the very things that are just here before us. Love is abundant. Joy is abundant. Peace is abundant. And it is here now. Just like all the materials for the technologies that we have now, they've always been here. It's not until we believe that we can do something with it. It's not until we believe that there is a potential for more that we start to enact on it. We have to change our beliefs in order to see the change that we want to see in this experience. What do you believe? And do these thoughts, do these beliefs feel good for you? Do you want to have peace and love and joy in your life, but you feel as though, oh, that would be great, but these people are aggravating. If these people just change, or if this situation was just better, those are adding restrictions on the belief that you want to have of peace and joy and love in your life. We add strings to these conditions of these beliefs that we want. We say, oh yeah, like peace and joy and love, all these things are really, really great. And I would love to have that. And I think that after I do this work, then I will have that in my life. I need to do this work though. That is a belief that we're holding. You can be joyous. You can have peace right now in this moment. But it's a belief that we have to do more for it. It's a belief that we have to work for it. It's a belief that that other person is keeping me from it. All of that is false. All these things, they don't keep you from that. It's our belief that keeps us from that. If you believe that no one can influence your countenance, if no one can impact you in such a way to shake you or move you off into unsteady ground, then you will be more sturdy in where you stand. You will be more in line with where you want to be because you don't believe that other people have the power to influence you. As I've said before, there can be chaos, literally chaos all around you, and you can still hold peace within yourself. It is our belief that this other person or situation can move us outside of that keeps us from that. And even if we find ourselves wanting to change our beliefs and feeling as though, it's like it's not working. This isn't working. It doesn't seem to be working. Well, that is also a belief. As we move closer to living our truth and being in our truth and moving towards establishing the beliefs that we want to hold, there are many things that are going to come up that are still shadows held within you, still thoughts that are held within you attached to the old belief that you held. There is only progression forward. There is no moving back. So as we hold that tune of the belief that we want to have, as we remind ourselves with the thoughts that are supporting those beliefs, then we will see the old beliefs fade away. And it may be a process of removing those old thoughts and having them arise back up and removing them again, casting them away, focusing our attention towards the ones that are more in line with who we are and what we want. As we do this more and more, we will find ourselves in that place that we want to be in. We will find ourselves in a world that we want to be in. Do you believe that heaven can be on earth? What does that look like? Do you believe that there can be peace on earth? What does that look like? And if you don't believe that, then what are the beliefs that are keeping you from that? Is that something that you want to believe in? Because a desire to believe in something is what starts that belief system. We have to desire to want to believe it. Many of us cast away many of the things that we feel inside of us because we feel or we believe that they are unrealistic. We believe that there's no sense in entertaining that joy and that bliss and that excitement that I feel in the thought of it because that's not what the world is. We have to desire to want to start thinking these different things. We have to desire to want to believe in something more. We have to in order to move ourselves to that place that we want to be in. To move ourselves to that understanding that we want to have within ourselves. What are the beliefs that I'm holding? What are the things that I feel are true to me? And how much of my experience am I allowing to impact that belief? How much of the world around me and the people around me and the situations around me and the history that I've been told, whether through my family or through history books, how much of that is impacting my beliefs about the next step I can take forward? Is it something that's empowering? Is it something that is more in line with that feeling of joy that we wish to have in our lives? Is it in line with that peace and that ease that we deserve to have in our lives? It's up to us to examine the beliefs that we hold and see if they still serve us. And if they don't serve us, then it's the work to cast them away. And they can be cast away in a moment. And as I've mentioned before, you can allow yourself to close your eyes and take a breath and let go of the past and the future and just be here now, be present right now. And you can feel a sense of peace right now in this moment. And there's no work that you had to do for that. You can feel joy right now in this moment. And you don't have to do anything to feel that. And if you start to hold a belief that this is something that I can feel in my life, this is something that can be my whole experience, then that is where it starts. That is how it starts. Do you want more financial abundance? Then believe that that is something that's flowing into your experience. There's so many people that believe I have to work this job that I don't like. I have to stay in the situation that I don't like. I have to do this thing that doesn't please me because I need this financial abundance. Not thinking about all the plethora of ways that people gain financial abundance and don't have to do anything. Now, I'm not saying that there's no action required, but the action can be something that is joyful and joyous and something that fills your heart and soul. It's something that can be in very much alignment with what you desire. And maybe you don't want to do anything, and that's okay too. There have been people that have won lotteries. There have been people that have been given money by some kind of benefactor. There are a plethora of ways in which abundance can flow into your experience. Are your beliefs limiting you from even seeing that as a possibility? Now, I'm not saying to go out and start buying a bunch of lottery tickets, but open up our horizons to believe that there is more. The moment that the microchip was developed and understood, look at the technologies that we have now. There are people that are creating new technologies all the time because they believe that there is more. They believe that this is something that can far precede anything that we've seen before. This world can far precede anything that we've seen before if we believe that it can. What is the world that we want to shape? What is the world that we want to see? And are our beliefs in line with that? Some may say it's a lost cause, but love will always find a way. Peace will always find a way. You can look in the middle of a New York City concrete jungle and see a blade of grass growing in between the crack of a sidewalk. That is love. That is the love that perseveres no matter what concrete or cement is placed over it. As long as we believe that it's possible, it is possible. I love you all so abundantly, and I only wish the best things. Believe that you can do anything and be anything, and you surely will, and it will change the world as people believe in themselves more and move with their passions more. There is so much here, and it's already happening. It is already shifting. This shift is already happening. And as we start to move more and more with that, as we start to cast away old beliefs, this world will change into what it has always been meant to be. So that's all I have for this episode. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything that you'd like to share, you can send that to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join any of the social media groups: Instagram, everything.sunpodcast, Twitter @everysunpodcast, and the Facebook group @everysunpodcast as well. I love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon.